I want to teach a course about the art of not knowing in psychotherapy, about the art of keeping the unknown alive and present while actually practicing psychotherapy. From my opening, you may already feel there's an inherent paradox in this course. Teaching about the unknown could deny the listener ability to be in a state of not knowing. When one knows something, it is harder to find oneself in a state of not knowing. So we do have an inherent paradox within the course. Yet, not knowing is not like ignorance. Not knowing is a form of art related to the opening of an uninhabited space within us so that creative processes can be generated and come to light. The theme of not knowing is very, very broad. It has its origins in spiritual and mystical worlds and traditions, as well as scientific, creative, and psychological ones. As a point of origin, I will use the language of a psychoanalyst by the name of Wilfred Bion, who introduced the art of not knowing into the domain of psychotherapy in the most profound and extensive manner. We can refer to Bion as the guardian of the unknown in the discipline of psychotherapy. Among so much psychoanalytic knowledge, he tried to create a language that points to and inherently includes the unknown. This is one reason why Bion's language is not easy to understand when reading it originally. Therefore, this course, in addition to teaching about not knowing, serves as a good foundation for understanding Bion's language and its concepts, allowing an introduction to Bion's writings which will facilitate the ability to read them independently. Now, when I think of a person who is about to insert themselves into Bion language, I'm often reminded of the scene in the movie Matrix where Morpheus offers Neo two pills, a blue pill and a red pill. If Neo takes the blue pill, as we remember, he wakes up in his bed as if nothing had happened and forgets everything. On the contrary, if he takes the red pill, he actually opens the door and makes contact with certain truths that are quite shocking, as they alter the existing order. Everyone who enters this course or is at the beginning of the study of Bion's language has there in their mind some kind of motivation to take the red pill and come closer to contact with truth. One of the books that helped me a lot in the preparation for this course is called The Clinical Thinking of Wilfred Bion. This is an excellent book on Bion's terminology by a pair of psychoanalysts, Joanne and Neville Symington. In that book they write, Bion encouraged us to leave go of psychological comfort, venture forth into the unknown, and risk the terror. So we risk not only making contact with truth, but also with terror. I also want to emphasize that from Bion's point of view, the central keyword is truth. The truth is simultaneously an abstract and very concrete concept, and little by little we will learn how Bion referred to the truth. Bion writes that based on his experience, healthy mental growth seems to depend on truth as the living organism depends on food. If it is lacking or deficient, the personality deteriorates. So according to Bion, healthy mental growth depends on food in the same way that living organism depends on food. This means that we, humans, for the growth of our personality, need to be in contact with the truth, just as we need food. To be in contact with our truth, we need to be honest with ourselves and honest with the experiences, with our experiences. If we are not in contact with truth, meaning that we cannot relay the truth to ourselves or be in contact with the truth of others, then, according to Bion, some element of development is lacking in our personality. The theme of being nourished through contact with truth is related in a profound way to the art of not knowing. I could say that the art of not knowing is related to the art of being in contact with truth. It highlights truth as a formation that develops out of infinity or out of chaos and takes on a form. We could say then that this movement can only be carried out if we can withstand not knowing, if we can be in contact with the unknown. The issue of studying Bion and the paradox of teaching something related to not knowing can be explained further. Symington and Symington write that the more psychoanalytic theories someone who studies Bion knows, the less likely they are to understand Bion. That is, existing knowledge in psychoanalysis does not help and could even interfere with deeply understanding Bion's thinking. Bion is not a person who created another psychoanalytic theory or who represents a particular case of psychoanalysis. On the contrary, Bion wove a language which includes psychoanalysis only as a particular case and a set of particular interpretations which can only point to specific, certain, limited truths. His language is much broader, and within it, psychoanalysis is only a particular case. Some people enter the study of Bion and are worried that they do not have enough of a theoretical psychoanalytic basis. They believe that it will be difficult for them to understand. Many times, the truth is the opposite. The more open-minded you are when you enter the course, with a mind that doesn't know, the easier it is to understand the things that Bion talked about. The paradox exists when one cultivates more knowledge about Bion, acquired knowledge, accumulated knowledge about Bion, about his life, about his concepts. And the knowledge is stuck in the head as sets of information, making it more difficult to apply what Bion transmitted. Bion did not teach like other theorists. For example, there are Freudians, Kleinians, Kohutians, Lacanians and Winnicottians in the psychoanalytic world. Bion would not have wanted there to be Bionians. He would have not wanted people who imitate him or who study his language with absolute scrutiny to recite him and be exactly like him, faithful to his way. The whole goal in Bion's language is that the student can develop their own original thought, the ability to think for themselves about what happens in front of them, what happens in the present, and not be closed or saturated by existing knowledge. It is important to say this at the beginning of the course. We are not in a course in which we have to accumulate facts and recite them. We are in a course that tries to grant legitimacy to the original thought and the specific ways of each of the people who study.